coming to the stage. I need you to start clapping your hands right now and make some noise and give it up for your man, my man, Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, U.S. Attorney. It's good to see you. And let's give a hand for Flav and WPGC. Give them a big round of applause. I'm so grateful to the U.S. Attorney Vincent Cohen for pulling us all together and for doing this every single year to talk about how young people can work with the government, how young people can work with the police, and how young people can learn from the prosecutor but never see him, right, U.S. Attorney? So that's what we're working on, and I'm so pleased that we had this opportunity. I understand that you've already talked about how we can have better safety in our neighborhoods, and I want you to know that we're really focused on that. And one way to do it is when we have great partnerships with our police department. Before I got here, I was just at a graduation. 18 cadets became police officers. And they're young people, not really much older than a lot of you, but they decided that they wanted to commit their lives to public service and to public safety. And that's going to be really important as the city continues to grow. Now, I grew up in D.C. like most of you, and I got to tell you, it's a lot different than it was when I was your age. It's a lot safer. We have more people moving here. People live in different places. And it's so important that we get good relationships with our police officers so that we can keep our community safe. Now, we don't want any level of violent crime in our community, but we know that sometimes we have it. And when we have it, it's important that we're talking to each other, we're talking to adults, we're talking to officers to make sure that we can keep our community safe. Now, part of my job is to make sure we have a great police department, but it's also part of my job to make sure that all of the agencies of the government are working together to keep young people occupied, educated, recreated, right, and on their way to a good paying job right here in D.C. So some of the things that we're working on for the summer, everybody's out of school, right? And I know you want to go back to school on Monday, don't you? So since you got to be out of school, and I know you rather be in school, but since we make you take summer vacation, we don't want you to forget the things that you learned all year. We also want you to be on your way to getting good job skills. So on Monday, we start our Summer Youth Employment Program. Anybody participating in that program this year? Where are our SYEP students? Raise your hands. Okay. And so you have the opportunity, and we want you to be matched with good experiences to really build your resumes. One thing that separates a college graduate or a high school graduate, the one that gets the job and the one that doesn't, is good work experiences. So I'm really proud that we're able to build on the Marion Barry Summer Youth Program. So 16,000 young people will start work on Monday. But this year, we've also expanded the program to include 22 to 24-year-olds so they can also get that experience, which is important. A U.S. attorney told me that you also had some questions about the pathway to joining a public safety career in the district. And I got to tell you, right now, I told you how much the city is growing. We are looking for young people who are energetic and honest and want to be on the pathway to becoming police officers and firefighters. So we're going to make sure we get that information out to you as well. The last thing I'll talk about is body cameras. Right? I hear you were talking about those because we want our police and we want you to all be protected in interactions with the police. So I'm working with the Council of the District of Columbia now to make sure that we can outfit our police officers with these body cameras. Now, we are working to make sure we balance that accountability with your privacy. Because the last thing I want is for you to be scared to call the police because you see that interaction on the evening news. You should never have that fear. The police are there to help you. So we want to make sure that everybody, if they have a negative interaction with the police, that they have access to the information. The U.S. Attorney, the Attorney General Karl Racine, who I see in front of us, and I know you heard from, in other officials in the government. But we want you to have confidence when you call the police that you're not going to have to see it on the evening news. So we're working through all of those issues. Now, the very last thing I'll say, young people, is this. Part of the crimes that we see that are really troubling lately are domestic crimes, intimate partner crimes, crimes between families, crimes that happen in the house. Sometimes we know about them, and sometimes we don't. So I just want every young lady and young man here to know that I'm going to give you a phrase that you have to remember. Love doesn't hurt, okay? If somebody is hurting you, they don't love you. And there are resources out there to help you. If that person is in your family, there are resources to help you too. And so we want to make sure that anytime we see that intra-family or intimate partner violence happens, we want you to reach out. If you don't know who to ask, you can always call 311. Tell the operator what your situation is, and you can get anonymous help. Because we know if we can de-escalate those arguments or things that happen in the backyard at the cookout, or argument that escalates over the phone, that we can stop a lot of the crime happening in our homes. And that's one thing we definitely want to commit to. I'm asking you all to be responsible this summer for yourselves and your own behavior. We were also able, for the first time, to make sure that every summer youth student this year had a free transit voucher. So you don't have to worry about how you're going to get on the metro train to get to your job, because we provided that for you. But you have to be responsible on transit. You have to keep up with your card, and you have to get yourselves there ready to work every single day. Now, I'm counting on you, because there were some people that argued with me about summer youth jobs and free transit. They wondered if it would be effective, if it's worth it. They challenged me to prove them wrong, to say this year that we're going to get more young people in continuous employment than ever before. So you may not know me, but I love a challenge. I love it when somebody says, prove me wrong, because I'm going to bet on the young people of the District of Columbia every single time. Every time. But I need you to help me prove them wrong. And this is how you start. You go to work on time, you learn something, you behave yourselves and comport yourselves in a way that is a credit to your family and a credit to this government, at your job and on the train and on your way home. And then you help somebody else. So I really am grateful to the U.S. Attorney for his part in making our city safe. Now, you know, a lot of people call him, he has a lot of nicknames. So we'll just call him the U.S. Attorney here. But he's just like you and me, born and raised here, his family committed to this community. And when you have a person like Vinnie Cohen, you know that he cares about what happens in our neighborhoods. He has to make a lot of tough decisions about balancing public safety and reforming people who have chosen not to follow the rules. But because he knows our communities, he knows us, and he is committed to making sure that more people have a pathway forward, I am fully confident in the decisions that he makes for us. So thank you, U.S. Attorney, for your help. And God bless you, everybody. Have a great summer.
Keep that round of applause going for Mayor Muriel Bowser. Thank you.